Right, so November is here, which brings the enormous monthly report, basically going through every studio that works on the Star Citizen game, and just breaks down what they've been doing over the last month and what they are working on now. So, starting with the LA office in the engineering department, they are progressing with Item 2.0, and they have dug deeper into object containers and object container streaming. Tech design, they have pushed forward on the Aquila and the Herald, closer and closer to flight readiness. In the art department, they have made solid progress on clothing. They're also pushing on the overall character pipeline. Narrative is writing and capturing tons of content for 3.0. Also additional content for 2.6, the Galactopedia, and the new component descriptions. QA have been doing daily Item 2.0 tests, as well as on Squadron 42, which is coming close. In the Austin studio, the design team have focused attention on the upcoming landing zones. I'll show you more on that later. They have created blueprint-level design documents to give a unique look, feel for the shops in Crusader, Hurston, and Microtech. In turn, this generates requests for items to populate these shops, like clothing, for example. They're also trucking along the Trade Slayer, which is an end-to-end economic model. Basically how items get created from mining commodities, refining, manufacturing, and then on the store shelf. They're also balancing the FPS weapons and items for Star Marine, and finalising the price fixer, which generates in-game values based on characteristics and component costs for all ships in the persistent universe. They're also working with UI for the shopping kiosk and creating mock-ups on how the system will work. So in art, they have finished the Herald. They are on the Cutlass variant refactoring now, getting them up to the current standards. They're currently in the grey box phase. Also, the final art pass on the Constellation Aquila, and they've worked on lighting for the Star Marine maps. So in animation, they are implementing a new set of background animations, sort of interacting with data pads, using the personal arc welder tool, getting in and out of bed, and eating at the mess hall table. We'll see some of that in Star Citizen Sunday this week. They've also supported animations for the Ursa Rover, the Caterpillar, and the Herald. They're providing an insight for the Prospector and the Buccaneer, two ships I just love. And they've added combat speed animations for the Retaliator, the Merlin, the M50, the Scythe, and the Freelancer. The back-end services have completely rewritten the hub server, which provides more scalability as the community grows. They are optimizing the lobby system to make it flow smoother. They have wrote a new leaderboard, which will display in-game rather than on the web. QA have focused on Star Marine, ship balance changes being considered for 2.6, and assisted with the ship enter and exit animations. In Foundry 42 UK, the art team have started a new MISC ship and Banu archetypes. They've also wrapped up the first round of the Asperia Prowler. They've finished Castak Arms, Sniper Rifle and Pistol. I believe this must be the Ballistic Sniper Rifle. They've worked also to bring a captivating mood to the two Star Marine maps that they have currently, and they've helped bring planets to an even higher standard, plus easily integrated assets. They're also working on brand new ideas such as surface outposts, put up a picture of that now. Also modular space stations and satellites, and the gearing up to unveil what they have been doing with Vertical Slice, which is the full Squadron 42 mission playthrough. They've also got both the Herald and the Hoplite flight ready. It's being tested. They're busy with capital ships. They're in the final stages with the Idris, the Javelin, and the Bengal. That is just insane. They've also started development on the Vandal Hunter. The Vandal Driller has been wrapped up. It looks as though these Vandal ships are coming along very quickly due to the ship pipeline and obviously the demand for Squadron 42. So in graphics, they've worked on rotating asteroids, physically accurate spotlight fall-off, which is important for headlights and torches, and a complex shader glow effect for alien spaceships. That's going to look cool. They've also done a rework and unification of the shadow system. It's higher res shadows with improved performance. So in props, they've got a large amount of work into the Squadron 42 low-tech set. They're also growing the handheld asset library, and also destructible props are being worked on, so soon we'll be able to explode barrels, blow out lights and windows. In audio, they have worked on ambience, scavenger voices, and sandstorms, much of which we saw in the Homestead demo. In Star Marine, they're working on the music logic system and grenade bounce work. They've also refined various ships, including the Dragonfly, the Caterpillar, and the Jean Scout. Improvements have been made to quantum drive, ship weapons, and player death. Plus, they've worked on collision interpretation with the goal of different clothing, armor, and weapons making specific sounds when bumping or scraping various surfaces, which sounds pretty cool. So QA, they've been putting the Star Marine control game mode through its paces. Also tested it with the new music system, and they're ensuring the Hoplite and Herald match the current standard of flight. So visual effects have cleaned up and optimized the Arena Commander in prep for 2.6. They have made effect improvements on both the Herald and the Hoplite, updates including shader fixes to FPS weapons, and have worked on general ambient visual effects for Star Marine levels. Homestead also had the ambient effects like sand, debris, and weather. Weapon improvements included the blood effects, Dragonfly had explosions, and the Ursa had also explosive effects. An atmospheric entry now is fully code and data driven, and they've also done finally some R&D for planetary visual effects. So in programming, 2.6 has its completely overhauled camera system, which has chase, orbit, passenger, and spectator. It also brings controls like depth of field of view, operator shake, points of interest, and zoom. They've also changed the lobby UI when you're changing your loadout without having to go to the hangar, plus investigating a new mega map, which is allowing us to go between Arena Commander game modes and environment without loading in or exiting out. That sounds very cool. I hope to see more on that soon. In animation, they're implementing the looting animations for weapons and pickups, working on grenade functionality and visuals. They have captured assets for stealth kills. Combat-ready AI now responds to noises, and they have worked on AI combat animation sets, including enter and exit cover, blind fire, and under fire. So the design team, in the UK, they have split between Squadron 42 and Star Marine. They have been adding mission content to Crusader, including many secrets, it says, but they didn't obviously specify because it's a secret. They've got new asteroid tech that improves the ring around Yella. They've also bolstered the belt with improved wrecked sites, so shipwrecks. They've tweaked station security, and with updates to AC, they include the persistent missile inventory and pickups and pirate swarm rebalance. Squadron 42, they have worked on elements of the vertical slice, which is the showcase they're going to show us. This section of gameplay was picked as it features almost all aspects of gameplay but lacks major spoilers, which is why they'll be able to show us. In UI, they have worked towards the UI needed for 2.6. They have overhauled the Star Citizen's front-end menu system. This affects in-game lobbies for Star Marine and Arena Commander. They've got a new in-game leaderboards and updates to the main menu and pause screen. Also, they are creating new first-person helmets with hoods, each have their unique look and feel. So Foundry 42 in Frankfurt. Programming have done lots of work on the ecosystems, vegetation, object spawning and terrain blending. Atmosphere received attention like cloud modeling and shading. They have improved the visual quality of ocean rendering. AI have focused on Squadron 42 functionalities, and Subsumption has added several new tasks, and I'll try and reel them off. So we've got move to target, set aim stance, look around, get target for entity, disable look and aim, peek from cover, enter exit vehicle seat, attach object, detach object, select gadget, start timer, has timer finished, set current time, random number, pick up item, add item to inventory, set emotion, loop while, animate on spot, and perceive faction mask. Lots of them make obvious sense. Some of them, I have no idea. Anyway, there's big focus on character movement, including identifying possible shortcuts with collision avoidance, so if they recognize and avoid the player, they'll avoid, they'll move out of the way. They've also added emotion content to drive emotional behavior. And finally, AI ships now correctly use both quantum travel and afterburner. So design, they say they have the landing system has received improvements. This includes landing in pads, hangars, docking to ships, or docking to stations. They have worked on space station locations for 3.0's release. They're designing a new modular system for building space stations, and they have continued work on modular surface outposts and satellites. I'll put that picture up again because it looks awesome. Environmental art has created 5 unique ecosystems. These are what we saw in the Homestead demo. They're also working on additional assets and terrain types. Cinematics have done dozens of in-cockpit and in-helmet comms in preparation for Squadron 42. They've also created a 3D logo for Star Marine when that's released. I'm sure we'll get to see that and make badges or t-shirts or whatever. Weapon art have focused on ship missiles. The FPS team is busy with grenades. We can see an incendiary grenade there. They're also building the iron sights for the Bayring P8 weapon family. Now the P8 is the latest Bayring weapon. It looks very, very cool. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're going to use in Squadron 42. QA have also been working with the AI team on Squadron 42 and doing some Star Marine testing. They've also worked on various environmental effects like clouds, heat refraction, sand blowing in the wind, falling dust and falling rocks, plus crash ships. Behavior art team have been working on the Star Citizen Persistent Universe diversity, including the sort of planet climates, architecture and overall sort of story of the locations. Now we've got images of Hurston here, which is a desert mining world Life on the planet is harsh. Architecture exhibits this sort of wear and tear feel, and daily life is monitored by planet security. You can see in each image we've got the concept art and then the actual in-game asset. Microtech is your Arctic environment. Its natural conditions of the planet are inhospitable. The cities are all domed. Inside these domes they're very clean, high-tech and very simple and elegant. The transparent glass is mostly prevalent. In Crusader, this is a gas giant. City is built way into the clouds of it. It's not on the planet's surface because of the, the dangerous atmosphere. It's got multiple floating platforms, long and slender in nature. Ships traverse between buildings, which you can see, and then it's got breathtaking vistas as well. Very, very cool. So finally, Turbulent have been working on the comms platform. This is Spectrum, which was revealed during CitizenCon. This is to integrate the forums and chat. The initial launch, they say, will be a web-based, and then eventually in-game with VoIP. Anyway, that was the monthly report. I will include all the pictures. Do have a read through it yourself. I don't generally miss anything, but there can be things that I don't mention because it's been mentioned before throughout the month. I'm just trying to pick out the bits that we don't really know about. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. Some exciting stuff, especially with planets. I cannot wait to see these planets. Plus the Herald, the Hoplite. Not too bothered about the Hoplite, but the Herald does entertain me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I shall see you next time.